Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Notes from the Sewing Room. My name's Becky and thanks for tuning in to today's video. Today I'm talking all about my finished London dress. Here it is. So hope you've had a good week, whatever you've been up to. I've been quite busy myself, just the usual kind of boring things, housework, cleaning up, going to work, that kind of thing. But I'm really excited to be here today telling you about my finished dress, which is from Selkie Patterns. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch any of my other videos, but if you have, you'll know that I've been doing a little bit of a series all about this pattern and making all the different versions of things in it. So far I have made the blouse, which I'm actually wearing now, so you can probably see it's a peplum blouse. I really like it, but I'll tell you about that in a second. I've also made version C, which is the skirt. I made that in a grey denim fabric, and finally I have made version B, which is the dress, so you can see it just on my mannequin here. I have made a few changes to the pattern, so I'm going to run you through those now, but just to say this is the first ever Selkie pattern that's been released. I really do like it. I would say it was fairly expensive getting the paper pattern, but for me, I feel like it's been worth it because I have made each of the different versions of things from the pattern pack itself. And I think particularly the skirt I will go back to, and I think it's probably going to become a bit of a wardrobe staple for me. I have been wearing the skirt quite a lot so far for work and at home actually, because it's quite smart, but I think it could be dressed up or dressed down depending on what kind of fabric you made it out of. So I would say the instructions are really straightforward. The pattern overall is probably suited to an advanced beginner. I would say that I'm probably an intermediate type sewer, but if you do take your time and work your way through the instructions, I'm sure you'd be absolutely fine with this. Plus, I am a big believer in just kind of diving in and having a go at things, so I would definitely recommend this even if you are quite new to sewing. Let me talk you through my dress. So as you know, this is the third thing from the pattern that I've made. I have made a few changes, having made the blouse and the skirt. So first of all, I'll talk about the sleeves. So the sleeves are supposed to be kind of flutter type sleeves. For me, when I made the blouse, I really liked them, but then wearing the blouse with a cardigan, I found that actually the sleeves do get a little bit crumpled under my cardigan, and they go all creased, and I don't know, they just kind of stick out a little bit. So I've decided to add in a little change. So you can probably see on my blouse, I've basically added in a tuck to the sleeve. So I've added in a fold, so folded the fabric one way and then the other just to create a little pleat, and then I've added on a little green button in this case. I've also done similar on my dress as well, so you probably can't see it there, but I will put a picture up on the screen. I've added a little heart button to the side of the sleeve, so I'm quite pleased with that. I picked a red button because there's red in the fabric that I've chosen. So the fabric that I used is actually from John Lewis here in the UK. I picked it up sometime last year when I was down in Surrey. I've got a friend that lives down in Surrey, so I decided to go shopping and just happened to see it. I did have a dress kind of project in mind when I found the fabric, but I wasn't really sure which one, but I think it's worked really well for this pattern. It's a viscose, so it's got quite a lot of drape and movement to it, so I feel like it's worked quite well for this particular project. Plus it's actually pressed really well as well, although I would say that it does also get very, very creased. So every time I kind of move this dress around, if I'm wearing it or if I'm putting it in my cupboard or anything, it just seems to get really creased. So that's just something I'm going to have to live with, I think. But I think it has worked well for this project. So the bodice, let's talk about that next. So there's two different types of darts that you can do on the bodice. So I say darts, there's actually a dart that you can do to add into the front and the back section of the bodice, or you can add in more of a pleat type detail. It does talk you through it in the pattern instructions, so I won't go through it in detail, but I've decided to add in the darts in my version, as I did in the blouse actually, just because I prefer garments that are a little bit more fitted. But it's up to you. You might prefer a more of a relaxed type fit, so you might go for the pleat instead. There are actually some good videos and whatnot on the Selkie YouTube channel as well, showing you the different versions of this pattern made up, so you could have a look at that obviously when you finish with my video here. There's two different versions of the finish for the blouse as well that you can do, and this blouse that I'm wearing, I've done the keyhole opening, so I wanted to try out both different things that are available in the pack. So this is the keyhole opening and this one is the necktie. So I slightly extended the length of the necktie by about 1.5 centimetres. I know that's not very much, but I just wanted to have that little bit of extra wiggle room to make sure I've got a very nice bow. If I was to make it again, I might actually extend it even further just so that I could extend the bow out. But I do like it. I don't really wear things that have got neckties very often, so that's a bit different for me, and I think I'm going to enjoy wearing it. The skirt, so the skirt has got box pleats in it. Depending on what kind of fabric you use, they will be more pronounced or not. The skirt's pattern piece is just singular, so there's different markings on it for if you're cutting the fabric on the fold or if you're doing two separate pieces for the back skirt. So I was very careful when I did the skirt, did it all properly and made no mistakes. However, when I've made the dress project, I don't know what was wrong with me, if I was cutting out when I was tired or if I just wasn't basically looking what I was doing, but I managed to cut both the front and the back pieces you know, as two rather than actually on the fold. So but never mind. So basically what I've had to do is make the box pleats slightly shallower than they should actually have been, but that's fine. It's not a big drama. So I just I joined the front skirt in the center section instead of actually cutting that on the fold, but actually it's just added an extra detail to my dress, so it's not really a big deal. In terms of the length of the skirt, it is a fairly long skirt, so it's kind of like midi length. I'm quite tall, I'm 5'10", but I have actually reduced the length of the skirt so it comes up to around about my knee. So it just depends on, you know, what you like, what kind of length of skirt you want, and maybe what you want to wear the outfit for. But for me, I'm slightly more comfortable having things that are around about my knee. So I decided to reduce the length quite considerably. But yeah, that's up to you really. For my skirt version, I did add in pockets to the side seams. That's not actually something that's included in the pattern, but it's something that I just decided to add in. For the dress version, I did decide to leave those out, just so that I could try something different, basically. Finally, I wanted to say that the facing around the top of the bodice to finish it off is a little bit fiddly to add in. I would say that you'll need plenty of steam in your iron, obviously a nice hot iron as well, and you probably need to do quite a lot of kind of folding and easing and snipping to actually get the center section to lie nice and flat. I decided that rather than just understitching the facing and rolling it inside, last time for the blouse I added in quite a few hand stitches around and about, and I also added in some stitches in the ditch as well for the various seams that are around, which worked quite well. But for this version I decided to actually do some top stitching instead, just to keep the facing inside without any added fuss, basically. I've top stitched all around here, so I basically used a 2 centimetre allowance all the way around. I measured it out and then marked it with chalk. I tend to actually use children's chalk, which is just picked up from my local shop, rather than having you know, traditional craft chalk. One, it's cheaper, and two, you know, I have no problems actually getting it off. In the end, it washes off in the washing machine, or you can just kind of use a damp cloth and get rid of it that way. I would say it's probably less precise. If you did need a nice clear mark for something, then maybe using craft chalk might be better. But for me, if you just need a kind of mark to know roughly where you need to sew, you know, children's craft chalk seems to work quite well. I just usually use mine in white rather than a colour. Yeah, so I've used a 2 centimetre allowance all the way around, starting at the zip at the centre back, and then all the way around the keyhole opening, and then back round to the other side. Speaking of the zip, I decided to use a invisible zip in this particular project, which works quite well, particularly as it's a lightweight fabric. But you know, that is up to you. You might decide to use an exposed zip instead, or maybe one of those lovely lace zippers that are around. Yeah, So I'm really pleased with all the different things that I've made from the Selkie pattern, and I think, like I say, I'll definitely be going back to use the skirt version again, and possibly depending on how much wear I get out of the top and the dress over the summer, I may well come back and make those again as well. So I would recommend it as something different. I know perhaps a keyhole opening in the top and the dress is not something that you might have tried before. It's certainly something new for me. I think it's good to try new things and gain new skills from different projects. I've really enjoyed this particular pattern, so I hope you've enjoyed watching my videos. I know this is actually the 4th video that I've been talking about these particular craft projects. In the last one I've not quite finished my dress, so but now I have, so here it is. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget, if you have, do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be back very soon talking about scrap busting. I will be back with my 5 top projects of things that I think you can use your scrap fabric for. But until then, I shall leave it there and say see you later.